black screen comes up, then you get to look at that for a while. I really wish that would get fixed. And by the way, I'm trying this running full screen after seeing some advice that says that running full screen KSP with fraps is supposed to reduce or eliminate problems. We'll see. Let's jump into the cockpit. Let's fly this one IVA. I do want my resources showing though. Okay, start her up, throttle her up, SAS on, let's have fine control, let's see what this thing can do. It goes down the runway straight, I appreciate that. Well, mostly straight. Okay, lift up anytime now. Okay, gear up. Alright. 133 meters a second, climbing about, what is that? About 10 or 11 meters per second climb rate. Okay. Slowly accelerating. Intake air started at 2. It's down to 0.90. And from the looks of this, I'd say we're closing in on 2,000 meters altitude. And the intake is already down to 0.80. Suborbital flights, huh? Yeah, in your dreams. Sorry, it's not gonna happen. Let's see how she handles. Nice roll. Okay. Let's try for the loop. No, we don't like doing loops. We can apparently be talked into it, but we don't like it. How do we feel about inverted flight? I think inverted flight is cool. Of course, we're descending. Shouldn't be. Okay. Remarkably stable, a lot more so than aircraft in KSP used to be, I will say that. I was prompted to try this after a recent comment on a video that someone was asking, and I'm sorry, I don't remember your name right now. Somebody asked if I was going to get into trying to do SSTOs in 0.21. And I have to admit, I'm not particularly enamored of the idea, because the idea of coming up with an SSTO design in KSP that can carry a useful payload to orbit or beyond is somewhat of a problem. And by the way, for the record here, what you're looking at is plain vanilla KSP, a brand new install. I still have my 0.21.1 modded installed. That's not gone anymore. I will be using it for the balance of the series, with Ferrum Aerospace and all the rest of the mods installed. I just wanted to try this one. It's not bad. As KSP aircraft goes, it's actually pretty nice. There is this kind of wobbly thing going on when trying to do turns and banks. even if I turn this off. Okay, how about if I turn SAS off? Yeah, it's still wobbling and bouncing all over the place. What is that? SAS on. At least that lets you bring it under control, I'll say that much. But the idea of designing an SSTO, especially if I went for my goal of having something that could carry a useful payload, say 60 to 100 tons, worth of 3-meter parts or designs or builds or whatever into orbit. I'm not up to that kind of design. I know I'm not. Perhaps the Winter Owl could do it. I'm certain he can do it. In fact, I think he's done it to a degree. But I'm not up to that kind of design work. I don't know quite enough about aircraft design. So anyway, this is the Ravensphere Mark III. Now I have flown this thing to see what its maximum altitude is, and with its default out-of-the-box design, it's good for about maybe 8 to 10 kilometers altitude, maybe 12 if you really pushed it and took your time. Alright, not bad. I appreciate how easy it is to land the thing. Now, here's the reason I decided to try this thing in vanilla. Alright, here we are. As you can see, it's the same ship, the Ravensphere Mark III. It's got the same resources. Only difference is we've got the far flight system installed. Let's give this a go. Start her up. Throttle her up. Take the brakes off. Let's jump in the cockpit. SAS on. Good head of steam going down the runway. So far, so good. Fine controls, just same as before. Interesting flappage going on. It wasn't doing that before. It's a lot harder to control because it's flapping a lot. Even if I turn fine controls off, turn SAS off and it stops, but look at what it does. It's not good when you see your exhaust trail out through the forward window. So we turn SAS back on and try desperately to get back under some kind of control and fail miserably. And we are stalled. So I can see where it's going to be a major job to figure out how to fly with Farum Aerospace. That much is obvious. They look cool. And in vanilla, they fly pretty nice. A little jerky and a little bumpy, but they fly pretty nice overall. Now.
All systems nominal.
Now this is the XR2 Ravenstar. This is a space plane. Main power is 2 liquid-fueled rocket engines, and it also has 2 scramjet engines, supersonic ramjets. Let's take this one for a spin. Not bad. 55-degree climb and accelerating. Mach 1 coming up very soon. The ship is capable of single stage to orbit, rendezvous with the International Space Station. It can even make the moon, and I've even made a flight to Mars in it. Not bad.
Mach 1.
Let's light the scram engines.
Scram doors are closed.
Not bad. Somebody can show me a design in KSP that can fly like this thing. I'll be interested in space planes.
Warning, wind stress. System warning, hull temperature.
And so here we are, back in 21.1, the modded version, the one where Jebediah Kerman has become the first Kerbal in this world save to land on the moon. And this is the vehicle that got him there. It's shaky and wobbly and, to be honest, poorly designed as it is. Well, this thing needs to be redesigned. Perhaps even replaced outright. I'm not sure yet. But I'm going to start by getting rid of that. Getting rid of all this. Get rid of that whole stage. Let's see. And of course there's all that crap left over. Alright, let's set this to one side. Get rid of all of that. And let's just go with a jumbo. And a little bit of overheat insurance right there. And of course they need to be stitched together. Yeah, that'll take care of that. Okay, that didn't want to take from there, so we'll just run it down here. Go from bottom to up, and that seems to work. Alright. Alright. .63 TWR, minute and 17 seconds on the first stage. Fair amount of delta V, not enough to get this whole bird into orbit, but then again, it's just the first stage. This is to get it off the ground and get it moving. As I work on this, no doubt there is some wondering how come I haven't been doing any KSP videos lately. And it doesn't really have much to do with the rant that you just saw. It's just a combination of so-called real life getting in the way, being busy, or recovering from the exhaustion involved in the stuff I was doing. Exhaustion, heat exposure, and all kinds of things like that, plus a certain amount of really hot days that made it very uncomfortable to sit here trying to record anything. Alright. No, we don't need that many. Okay, we'll go with that. And on here, let's see. Stack quad adapter. Let's give that a try. Let's pick this whole thing up a bit so that I can get a look at down here. LTV 30s. There we go. Now we're talking. No more mussing around with not enough. We're going to go back to having too much. Alright, strut these babies together. Like so. Top and bottom. Okay, and fuel lines. Alright. Good old asparagus staging. Say what you like, but I think it works. Alright. These all fire initially. Then these go when they're empty. Okay, that needs to go down here. And then the rest of the vehicle is as before. Oh yes, that's right. Reaction wheels. Gotta have reaction wheels. Alright. Provide a little extra torque while they're still attached. Torque, reaction force, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Copy that. Put it there like so. Separate out the staging so that they don't go off wrong. And fix the fuel line on this one. Put a complementary strut over here to offset the fuel line, because fuel lines act like struts. At least they always have. Alright. Set this down here. Okay, the reason that I hadn't been doing a lot of KSP, aside from busyness and whatnot in real life, or whatever passes for real life, is, well, it's got a lot to do with events of my live stream, which also came to a stop recently, partly for the above reasons and also partly for how things went. And I had two different live streams. On Tuesday nights I was doing 21.1, a whole new separate stream only save, and I had managed to get Bill, Jeb, and Bob back to Kerbin after aborting their bad trip to the moon in a ship that was badly designed and had flaws and so on and so forth. And I got them back to Kerbin. I sent them into re-entry, and everything went pretty well for the most part until they hit the ocean at 11 meters per second and didn't survive the trip. I really don't like killing Kerbals. I think I've mentioned that a few times in the past, and it remains to be true. Right now, speaking of which, we need some kind of a robot body on here. Alright, let's just pick this up. Remote guidance unit, just set it right on here. Drop the parachute on here. We'll call this lander 2B. Save that. Crew assignments. Nobody's riding on this one. This is an automated test flight. So I will cut to the launch pad and we'll give this a try. Okay, here we are. And the first thing I notice is I didn't put any launch clamps on here, so that's a possible problem all by itself. Another problem is the fact that it seems to be still wobbling more than I like. In any event, let's SAS on, throttle her up, and see if she'll fly. Indeed. Throttle back just a little bit. We don't need to use quite all of that at once. We're holding straight and vertical, if not exactly steady. Does seem to be rolling just a little bit, but a very little bit, so we can ignore it. All right. In the other live stream series that I was doing on the weekends, I was trying to finish off the events of 0.20.2, and that went bad. It went, oh. It went from bad to worse, kind of like this just did. Isn't it nice nobody was aboard? Okay, we will revert this back to the vehicle assembly building. Okay, anyway, as I was saying, the ill-fated weekend stream with the efforts to actually mount a rescue mission to several flights that were in progress when that season ended. It just wasn't all that good, because after spending many hours doing very long burns and very painstaking operations to get these ships put together in orbit and then send them on their way to Moho, there was an incident during a mid-course correction burn partway to Moho. Some serious wobble started up and it grew out of control quickly, and before I knew it, the ship broke in half, where two ships were, well, there was the main lander stage and there was another stage or section that was docked onto it, secured in addition to docking ports by quantum struts. And the wobbling got so bad that it broke the docking port off of the fuel module, which was basically 4 jumbo tanks. And that fuel was needed for the trip to Moho. And so while I investigate things with the main lander, the fuel module, still intact and still flyable because it has engines of its own and a robot probe body to allow it to be controllable, it drifts off. And while I'm paying all of my attention to the lander and doing a course correction and all this, I get it on course to Moho, and when I finally remember the fuel module, try to get it on course to Moho, and I find out that the 3 LV909s on it are just not enough to get it to Moho, even with 4 Jumbo 64s worth of fuel on board. As a matter of fact, there was no way to plot a course anywhere in the Kerbal system, at least not that would get there within less than 3 or 4 years in-game time. And so, between the one set of incidents in one stream and the other set of incidents in the other stream, I got put off by the whole thing, and I needed to step back and detach from it a little bit, refigure what I was doing, redecide what I was going to do. And so there you have that. And now we have this. Let's cut to the launch pad. Okay, here we are. The launch clamps, I think, will help a little bit at least. Okay, let's see how this one does now that the staging has been fixed. Oh, no, it hasn't been. I'm glad I caught that. Alright, I'll have to fix that in the VAB and save it that way. Anyway, let's rock. Throttle back to 2/3. Still accelerating nicely. quite a bit of delta V on here. I don't see much in the way of roll. I could have sworn I saw a little bit of roll before in the last flight. Okay, here's the acid test. Will the correct stages detach? One hopes so. And burnout. Staging. Nice and smooth. Excellent. And let us begin a gravity turn. Easy does it. Still remaining at 2/3 throttle. We don't appear to need much more. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm pressing the other direction. Cut off. Let's get her pointed back to east. So much for SAS doing anything at all. There is reaction wheel on here. There's two of them on there. I think there's one in here. And then there's the capsule. There may not be a Kerbal in it. Oh, there is. I forgot to ditch him. Trying very hard to maneuver this thing into a heads-up position. Okay. 19 kilometers falling. We can close that. We're not going to be flying this thing very far at all. Anyway, after thinking about it a lot and deciding what I'm going to do, aside from stage the stuff away, and just try to salvage the pilot. Okay, we're going to save our pilot, who shouldn't have been on there anyway. In any event, what I'm going to do with the live stream is I'm going to work with 0.21.2, and there is two basic projects. There is the thing of getting the keythane mining and exploration going and so on. And the other thing I want to work on in that is learning how to fly with Ferrum Aerospace, because it is way different. It is very different. Controls don't work the same. Designs that work perfectly fine in vanilla do not work with Ferrum, so I need to figure out how to design something that will. Just simply because it has become a challenge. And so, with that, I will land our pilot here, and then call a close to this rather talky episode of Kerbal Space Program. Hope you don't mind that, but sometimes talk is where it's at. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.